What's up, guys? Today is day 102 of Deadlift Everyday, and I am extremely happy with how the recovery of my lower back is going. 10 days ago, I could have never imagined that I would already be back at these kinds of weights in 10 days' time. The days after I injured myself, I could barely bend over to put on my socks. Sure, I could eventually force myself into that position, but it was extremely painful and uncomfortable. So to be trapped while deadlifting 145 kilos with bands, which add about 25 kilos at the top, is a pretty awesome feeling. And to be honest with you, I am still very cautious. I really don't want to set myself back by making an ego-driven decision. I don't have time for that. I am here to make progress, not break myself down. So that also got me thinking about how I am going to treat training for the upcoming period. I'll be deadlifting every day, that is non-negotiable. But I was thinking more about what the deadlift sessions will look like in terms of sets, reps, and the intensity used. Will I start working up to heavy singles again? Or do I stick with higher reps and sub-maximal weights? Or do I work up to a sub-maximal single followed by some higher rep back-off sets? Or do I do multiple sets of sub-maximal singles? Those are all valid questions if you ask me. And if I would have to follow my gut feeling, I would say that right now is not really the time to be hitting heavy singles, especially with the recent lower back injury. And even though it does feel really good right now, it does not mean that my lower back is not a weak link anymore. It probably still is, and I have to be cautious with it. So what I will be doing is sticking to sets of 5 for most of the time. Either working up to a heavy set of 5, something like an RPE of 7 or 8, or multiple sets of 5 at a lower intensity. I was even thinking about doing something like a 10 by 5, so 10 sets of 5 once a week, and then slowly building that up in weight. That will give me a lot of technique practice at a lower intensity, but still give me sufficient stimulus to build some strength. I just have to make a decision on which deadlift variation I want to do this with. I could just go with the conventional deadlift, or I could go with a little more back-friendly variation, like the trap bar deadlift. I don't know yet. But the cool thing about this set and rep scheme is that if you can hit all 10 sets of 5 with 67.5% of your goal weight, then you should be strong enough to actually lift it. That means for a 250 kilos deadlift, I would need to be able to do 10 sets of 5 with about 170 kilos. So on paper that definitely looks possible. I know in practice that will be a bit harder, especially if you keep the rest times reasonable, but it's definitely not impossible. And to come back to the heavy singles. The only time I will allow myself to hit a heavy single on a deadlift variation for the upcoming period is when it is done with a no hook, double overhand grip on either a regular bar or with fat grips. That way it will always be my grip that gives out first and not my back. Next to the deadlift work, and I really want to include some more leg work. I know I've said it before, but I am really lacking in that department. It could be as simple as adding a few sets of Bulgarian split squats at the end of a training session. But then I have to be consistent with them and not only do them once a month. That is a beginner mistake, and I know better than that. So that is basically how I want to treat the upcoming periods. Just so I stay in one piece and build on my base. Because like they say, the wider the base, the higher the peak. And after all, that is all we want. So let's get to work. Alright guys, that is all I have for today. I hope you liked the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.